One more week. One more week of this crap. Jets lose 40-14. That 14 was a gift. Rodgers gets pulled in the fourth quarter. Garrett Wilson and Conklin both wind up scoring touchdowns. You'll see some people saying the offense moved better with Tyrod, but that was being down 35 points or 40 points, whatever it was. Jets was smacked around today. Smacked around. I'm sick of covering this dang team. I want the season to be over. Jets got a little bit of help in the way of the draft department. We'll look at the draft picks. I'll go over to Ulbricht's presser. We'll listen to Rodgers' presser. Interested to hear what he has to say. Statistics for the day. Aaron Rodgers finishes the day 12 of 18, 112 yards and 2 interceptions. P.U. Stanky. Tyrod comes in, goes 11 of 14, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall, our top rusher for the day, 10 carries, 46 yards. That's 4.6 yards a carry. Isaiah Davis did have a nice 3 carries for 35 yards. And Braylon Allen, 6 carries for 26 yards. So the running game actually, on a per-carry basis, did all right, but overall not great. Garrett Wilson finishes the day 7 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Conklin, 8 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 5 receptions, 47 yards, no touchdown. He did get hurt. He wound up coming back into the game. This O-line is trash right now. Rodgers got sacked a bunch of times. What was the overall team stats on this? Yeah, Rodgers got sacked. I don't know if it was Rodgers 4 times, but the Jets allowed 4 sacks on the day. We had backup left tackle, backup right tackle, and just getting smacked around. Rodgers gets sacked for a safety early on in this game. Just not even fun to watch. Not even fun to watch. At that point, I'm glad Rodgers didn't score any points here, and Tyrod at least got 2 touchdowns to Conklin and Wilson, because I like those 2. I really do. Good people, deserve to have some stats padded. Kind of glad Rodgers didn't get in the end zone. Sort of over it. There was a fumble by Garrett Wilson, who's kind of making a habit of fumbling a little bit over his first 3 years in the league, but he eclipses the 1,000-yard mark for the 3rd time. First Jet receiver to do that, so a nice little thing for him there. Rodgers still doesn't obviously have the 500th touchdown, but the fumble, like I was saying, for Garrett Wilson, the Rodgers doesn't even try to jump on it. It just actively kind of flops over to the side. I can't blame him. It's a business decision, but man, that really got me a little sour in the most irrational sort of way. This game's over. The season's over. There's no reason for him to be risking anything. And I guess if you're Team Rodgers, you're probably more on the business decision side of things, because if you do want him back, then maybe not getting hurt at the end of the season and end of a game is probably where your head's at either way. I do have a poll question in the chat if you guys want to vote on that. Run it back with Rodgers. You can vote yes or no. We have heavy voting towards the no right now. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. We have just over 100 votes. I'll go to Ulbricht's press conference in a few minutes, and then Aaron Rodgers' presser to hear what he has to say. We'll get your thoughts on everything. Boys and girls, this stream is powered by BetUS. Head over to BetUS. Get a 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. How many games do the Jets win on the rest of the season? We've lost so many games. Can we beat Miami next week, week 18, to jack up our draft spot? I feel like it's going to be a yes. As much as today's mollywhopping that we got was just kick the doors in, our team's clearly not trying, I feel like we're going to find a way to jack up our draft position. That'll be Aaron Rodgers' kiss of, goodbye before he either retires, moves on, or we cut him. Whatever winds up happening, who knows? We'll see where it all shakes out. As far as the draft stuff goes, that's not what I wanted to show you. Boom, here's the draft stuff. As of right now, let me hit the refresh, make sure nothing has changed. New England, currently sitting in the top spot with the 1 pick. Giants wind up winning. They fall down to 3. So we got the Patriots, the Titans, the Giants. That would be how it would finish right now. Depending on what happens with Cleveland, they lose. They're going to slide into the 3 spot. The Giants will fall down to 4. The Jets slide up a few picks. We were sitting at 8, I believe. Was 8? I think last week. We slide up to number 6. If Cleveland can manage to get a win, the Jets would be within the top 5 of the draft, and that would be kind of nice. I don't know who they got playing. I don't think the Browns have a very good schedule remaining here. So let's see. Browns are playing Baltimore and the Dolphins. So they could get a win versus the Dolphins, which I'm assuming is today's game, right? We've got, who else is in front of us? We have Jacksonville's got to play the Colts. That's a potential win next week. That would be huge. We really want the Jaguars to fall behind us. That'd be kind of nice. Would have liked to have seen the Titans win today's game because the Jets would have leapfrogged them in terms of strength of schedule, or because of strength of schedule. They play the Texans next week. If the Texans are locked in, did Texans lock in that division already? They may have locked in that division. So maybe they're resting some guys. We'll see how that kind of plays out. It would be nice to not have them. And then let's see. Raiders are behind us. You got the Bears sitting behind us playing Green Bay. Giants maybe playing a lame duck Eagles team next week, so they might fall a little bit further potentially down this list. Buffalo might be resting starters with New England. So that would be an interesting thing to have happen, because if New England ends up winning, they fall down to like the 4th pick or potentially 3rd. I'd like to see them get Travis Hunter. That's sort of where I'm hoping they ultimately end up here. But yeah, so lots of stuff to get into. Want to hear your comments in the chat. Let your voice be heard, what you want to see from the Jets next year. Aaron Rodgers running it back? Or do you think the time has come to hang it all up and at least move on with whatever our new coaching staff is looking to do? Let me know. Brandon Neiman says, turn on the presser. Incredible answers from Coach. All right, so let's listen to the presser here from Mr.
All right, guys. Give a lot of credit to Buffalo. They got after us in every way. Outcoached us, outplayed us from really the second half on. So, not good enough.
How would you assess the effort out there today?
I thought the effort wasn't the issue. The effort was fine. It was the execution. It was all of it. And we're going to take a good hard look at the film and assess what exactly happened. But we didn't play well enough by any means, in any facet, in any of the 3 phases.
To address the penalties, 5 for
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that starts and ends with me. So I got to do a better job of making sure that, obviously it doesn't happen, but there's a stronger understanding of why that can't happen. You can't overcome that against teams, especially a team like Buffalo that's rolling right now, playing elite football. So it killed us, got us behind the sticks multiple times, extended drives for them on offense, and not good enough.
Coach, you kind of seemed like, as you were keeping it close on, when it started to separate a little bit, your guys before melting down a little bit. Maybe what do you, what's your explanation for that?
Well, absolutely. The penalties and some of the execution stuff is a discipline thing for sure, and we need to be better in those moments. But as far as melting down in you saying in the drives or in the quarters or just in general, yeah. I'm going to take a hard look at it and have some hard conversations with some of the guys, and just obviously I have not communicated that well enough the impact of some of these penalties, and you got to do what's right for the team over what's right for you in that moment, and we're losing touch with that too often.
I think you see the day where Aaron gets called out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will look at the tape, but I just thought it was in his defense, he was going to erase a mistake, and he was busting his butt over there, and I'll take a look at that one.
How do you think Aaron played today?
I got to look at the tape, honestly. Like, I didn't get to see a whole lot of the offense. I was doing a lot of defensive adjustments, especially that first half and a good part of that third quarter. So
you could tell he made defensive adjustments.
How tough it is to play against a guy like Josh Allen?
Yeah, it's he's going to test you in every way. You can do everything right schematically on the whiteboard, and he can still beat you. And he demonstrated that today multiple times. but at the same time, it's like that was one of the key coaching points. We got to do right longer. Do right longer means cover longer, rush longer, all those things. We know how he extends plays. We know how he makes magic happens off platform. So it's we didn't get that done today.
What went into the decision to play Sauls, and obviously his injury flared back up?
Yeah, he came out. It was on Thursday and felt really, really good, and he had a really nice practice on Friday, and then he came out and did a pregame eval, and he was rolling. He was feeling really, really good about it. So, unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish today.
What went into going to Thailand, to Tyrod, and did you think about doing it a little earlier? Was that discussion with Aaron?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was just towards the end there where it got a little bit out of whack, and from a protection standpoint, we were struggling. So, Tyrod has an amazing superpower of, being elusive and athletic, and it was necessary today.
You anticipate starting Aaron next week?
I do, yeah, barring an injury.
How much of a factor were those injuries on the offensive line today with the protection?
It's always part of it, but at the same time, we gotta help those guys out when they come in the game, and also we gotta play better and execute better.
More embarrassing than you have 40 points.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Absolutely, it's frustrating, it's embarrassing, it's maddening. It's it's all of that.
The sequence in the third quarter, you guys punt 10 down, get the ball back to the least of the downs, and then you got the interception there. You feel like that was kind of where the game started getting away from you guys?
Yeah, there's definitely a momentum switch right there, but at the same time, we got to overcome that, and we got to step up in those moments of adversity and stand up as a defense, and we didn't get it done, and that starts with me.
What about that sequence? It was your first possession of the third quarter where you were on the 37-yard line. You took the was that start there?
4th and 5, yeah.
4th and 5. So
What's your best?
We got to finish. We got to honor. You got to honor yourself. You got to honor the relationships that you've made in that locker room. You got to honor this team. And Quincy had a strong message too. And he's absolutely right. When this tape gets evaluated, no one cares what our record was. Nobody cares what the score of the game was. The tape is who you are, and that's players and that's coaches. So we got to demonstrate exactly who we are next week.
Judy, how do you finish strong at home in front of your fans to close out the season?
How do you finish? We just got to play our best ball. We got to be the best version of ourselves individually, which will ultimately be the best version of ourselves collectively, and just make sure that, regardless of the perception, there's very strong, close locker room in there, and at the end of the day, you want to honor all those relationships in the way that you play. So we got to go out in the right way.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so that was Ulbrich. Some interesting answers there. You could tell he kind of doesn't know what to say at this point as far as the different. You lose so many games. They only say, I got to take a hard look at the tape. Oh, Aaron Rodgers got that penalty out of bounds first, unnecessary roughness call in his career or whatever. Look, to me, it was frustration. Clearly out of bounds, or Rodgers is just actively trying to get himself cut and he wants to play for a different team next year. I find that entirely plausible right now. I think I saw this in the chat, and I do feel the same way. I would have no problem if the Jets bench Rodgers next week so he can't get the 500th touchdown with us, because I do think they're going to move off of him. And then there's also a spiteful part of me that hopes they hold him till June 1st and then cut him after that, so it makes the amount of teams that he could potentially be with less. I don't know. I'm a spiteful son of a batch of cookies right now, and it's frustrating. It really is. I see a really generous super chat in there from Julian Vivas. I will get to it in just a moment. I do want to go over to Rodgers' press conference. Let's listen to what Rodgers has to say about today's game. Then we'll get into all the comments and everything. So just hang with me for just a little bit more here.
The way that Josh is having the season this year, what type of those 20 would you compare him to?
The way that Josh is what?
The way that Josh has played this year, out of your 20 seasons, which one of those compares to where Josh is playing?
Oh, that's a good question. He's having a great season. He has an MVP type season, so pick one of those four.
How would you describe
his game today?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 times we played him this year, we moved the ball pretty well and just hurt ourselves. You know, we scored more points in the first one, obviously. But when you watch that first one back, we had plenty of chances to win the game. You know, today we moved the ball well, first 2 drives, no points. Then after that, the game got away from us.
On that 3rd and 1 play, they threw the 𝐂𝐿, just kind of what happened on that play.
That was a good play call. You know, right as I was throwing, I felt like Kenny was going to keep going. He felt like the avenue was to keep it up. I probably should just put a little more air on it and let him just kind of run through it.
What did you see on the batted ball there, Aaron? Do you think your goals are confident there?
Yeah, that was the play. It was, you know, he had it blocked up good. It would have been an explosive play. This guy tipped the ball.
Was that an unnecessary roughness penalty on your part, a frustration thing, or did you think you still, you know, he wasn't quite out of bounds yet and you still had a play on him?
I don't think I hit him pushed him very hard. Yeah, I was just chasing down the play.
Surprising for a flag on you. That's the first one of your career.
First unnecessary roughness. I had one other 15-yard penalty in the playoffs.
Aaron, on the safety, how could there ever be a protection package drawn up where A.J. Epinesa is not blocked off the edge?
It's called scat protection. So there's a big dual component to the scat protection in there. I mean, it felt like they were going to drop off. I don't know exactly what happened, but the rule on the left side is to vertical set and squeeze and replace back out.
How would you assess the effort out there today?
Effort, I thought, was pretty good. Execution wasn't very good.
What happened on the second interception?
I think they threw the ball a little too far inside.
The delay, you were just trying to get him to jump, that was it, or were you guys going to go?
No, that was the call. Just take it away.
What was the conversation like with Jeff when he took you out of the game? What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was 33-0. We were sitting there, and I said at some point, probably go to 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢𝐥𝐢 here, huh? And then the next play, they threw a screen for a touchdown, so it's 40-0.
A couple more. Just how do you put it in perspective? I mean, this has been a season with a lot of challenging games, and today, I mean, on the stat sheet and the scoreboard looked like it might have been the most challenging. And just how do you put it in perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the season. It just got away from us. The too many games got away from us. This game got away from us. You know, we were moving the ball well, and then we just hit a wall, and that's kind of been the season.
Especially with the way you guys are moving it early, that play here at the 12-yard line, you got all your guys out there, Devontae's in the slot, and you think, all right, you know, this is, you know, we had a chance to really get in this game and maybe get my 500th touchdown. What are you thinking on that situation specifically?
We got to execute the play.
What does the future holds for Aaron Rodgers?
I'm going to enjoy next week and then take some mental and physical rest.
Last one here. There was a historical footnote today. You're now the most sacked quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah.
You beat Tom.
Yeah. Got Tom in that.
Did you know that going into today?
I was told yesterday in a production meeting, yeah.
Thanks, everyone. You guys
All right.
All right. Aaron Rodgers, most sacked quarterback in NFL history. Interesting note from there, he took himself out or was asking potentially to be taken out. You know, at 33-0, said probably should go to Tyrod at some point there. That to me is like, yo, I'm done getting hit. I'm ready to not take this beating. I'm done. And then they throw the screen pass. They score a touchdown, 40-0, and Tyrod comes in. I'm not really sure what to make of it because honestly, it's probably like a brutally honest thing. Like, hey, like it's so out of hand. The starter probably should not be in at this particular moment. But that's a white flag if I've ever seen one. That is a white flag from Aaron Rodgers. He kind of echoed the same thing as 𝐿𝐵RIC. The effort wasn't the problem. The execution was. It certainly looked like it was a little bit of both of that. I definitely did not like the effort that I saw from this team. I thought it was very lackluster, we'll say, is the polite term. The tackles, I thought Mitchell looked horrible. He won't be on this team next year. I think Warren did not look very good. The interception that Rodgers had with was it Phillips that caught that interception, the tip ball, when the Jets were in the red zone. Romo was saying it should have been the tackle engaging with that edge rusher, so that way you couldn't have gotten the tip ball. That's probably true right there. But again, just frustrating. The beginning part of that game, you had 3rd and 1. Rodgers probably could have just ran for the 1 yard to get the first down at that point. I thought that's what he was going to end up doing. And then throws it short to Yeboah. He looked pretty frustrated. I couldn't tell if it was like, oh, was Yeboah supposed to go flat? And then Rodgers was expecting to go there. Should have put a little bit more air on it. It would have been pretty funny to see number 500 go to Kenny Yeboah after like all the emphasis that was put on Davante Adams catching number 500 these last few weeks. Just frustrating all the way around. And I'm hoping Rodgers kind of decides he wants to hang it up and wants to retire after this particular season. Assuming he probably gets number 500 next week, and then, it is what it is. Make your decision there. I don't particularly want to see him go to another team because I do feel like he's going to wind up having a good season elsewhere, and we're just going to look like bigger schlups than we've seen from ourselves in the last little bit, and that's impressive to say. Julian comes in. Julian asks, where do you think Sanders will go now that the Giants won today? He looked bad against BYU yesterday. I'm excited for the 26th draft. I hope the Jets don't draft the BYU quarterback, Retzlaff. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Apologies. Let's take a look at the Tankathon leaderboard right now. And as far as where the Jets are picking, Jets are sitting at the 6th pick right now, pending further results from the Browns and some other teams here. Right now, if you look at the mock draft, they have Travis Hunter going 1 to the Patriots. You'd have to imagine that's going to be a trade out. I would think the Giants try to jump from number 3 or 4, wherever they are. Like if the Browns lose, Giants would fall to 4, Browns would be 3. I would imagine the Giants would jump from 4 up to number 1 with the Patriots. I think the Patriots do probably want to stay on that Travis Hunter train, and that may require them to be at number 3. So we'll see how that ultimately shakes up. I don't see the Browns trading up to get a quarterback, but I could see them sitting and sticking and picking a quarterback at number 3 if it were to fall that way. So I do think Sanders ultimately goes number 1, and it's with a trade up from the Giants. If that were the case, Travis Hunter goes 3. I think Cam Ward goes 2 to the Titans. I guess McMillan goes to the Browns at, whatever pick they would eventually end up being. Mason Graham to the Jaguars, and then the Jets end up with Abdul Carter at number 6. I like Abdul Carter a lot. I'm a big fan. I'm hoping Mason Graham makes it to the Jets. I think Mason Graham is the player, if we're not getting a quarterback, to kind of keep your eye on. These 3. McMillan, if he makes it to us, is a very, very good snatch for the Jets, especially if Davante Adams does not come back, because we do not know the future of Garrett Wilson. Hopefully it's a long-term future with the Jets, but then you pair him with McMillan, and it's just a compliment to one another. Jets aren't going to have Lazard next year, won't have Davante next year, and then you have a trio of Corley, Wilson, and McMillan. That's a really lethal trio of receivers there. If the Jets do go with the defensive lineman, Mason Graham rounds out your defensive line group with JJ and Will McDonald on the outsides. You got Quinn and then Mason Graham up front. A lot of this will have to be determined based on who our head coach ultimately is, who the GM is, where they ultimately want to go. But that's kind of how I see it. I would have no problem with Abdul Carter. If the Jets can stay within this top 6, these are the players that I really would identify with the Jets kind of getting. The Jets and Panthers right now are in a deadlock as far as their record and strength of schedule. It's very, very close. The Jets sitting at .496, the Panthers at .498. So the Jets could be picking 7th if the Panthers lose and the Jets lose next week. And then, depending on how the formulas work and other teams winning and losing, the Jets may fall behind them. Hopefully that is not the case. I'll have to go into it and do a deeper dive this upcoming week and see who's playing who and like who to root for on different teams. But yeah, look, Jets staying within the top 6 would be a benefit for the draft crowd for sure. Let's take a look. I want to listen to hear your questions, hear your comments, and things like that. Jet Engine, what's up, brother? He says, funniest thing, had Corley not dropped that one at the goal line, Rodgers gets 500. Was that Corley? I thought that was Yeboah. Am I totally off on my numbers right now? What fucking number is Yeboah? Yeah, Yeboah is 88. I think that's the one. We're talking about the same one, right? So if Yeboah hadn't dropped that one, Rodgers gets 500 to Adams the last week. Time to fumigate the entire building, top to bottom. Yeah, I'm interested to see what ends up happening. Are they just going to release Rodgers outright at the end of the season, before he even goes into his retreat? I don't know when he's doing his retreat versus when his bonus would have to be paid. I'm hoping that bonus can be delayed a little bit longer. So that way he can't really make a decision before free agency and the draft. That would make me, that would satisfy me from all the bullshit we've had to watch this past year, kind of flipping him off on the way out if that's how it ends up going. Or he comes back and we just, hey, we got to hope for a, winning season next year. I do think we wind up getting Vrabel. I hope that's what everything ends up, how it ends up shaking out here. But man, that is a frustrating day to see for the New York Jets. Blitz Crew comes in and says, if he comes cheap, thoughts on Will Levis? Time to move on from Carter Warren. I wish we kept Codrington over Gibson. Yeah, I wish we had kept Codrington over Gibson too. Gibson doesn't do anything for me, honestly. Levis, I don't want him. I don't want Will Levis. I want, if the Jets move on from Aaron Rodgers, or Rodgers moves on from the Jets, or however you want to phrase it, if Rodgers is not our quarterback next year, I'm more of a proponent of Justin Fields coming in here. I think Fields is a player that would have a mentality that would be beneficial to the Jets long term, even if we don't wind up keeping him long term. I think there's an underdog mentality for him. Levis, I don't like at all, to be honest. Carter Warren and Max Mitchell, I would be fine with moving on from both those guys. I don't think either one provides enough upside to keep on the roster, even in a backup capacity. I would be pretty fine with not having either one of them there. So interesting thoughts. I do think it's interesting to see what happens with the Sam Darnold contract. Is he going to get franchised? Is he going to get a monster deal? Does that change anything with J.J. McCarthy? Or would they just sit, McCarthy behind Darnold while Darnold is playing well, and then they always have the backup option to go back to J.J. in the future? That feels like probably what they're going to end up doing. Man, I don't know. Oh, James meant Corley dropped a touchdown against the Texans. So Corley would have had a touchdown with Rodgers, and then last week's touchdown to Devontae would have been number 500, and it wouldn't have mattered at all. So that's interesting. That's a good thought there, Blitz Jet Engine. Sean Erock says, Aaron is the offensive coordinator. Offense is the eye coordinator, is what everyone said when we got him. Didn't turn out that way. I don't know. It definitely feels like Rodgers is running this team, and I'm happy to move off of him if that's what we end up doing. Oreo says reports say Garrett Wilson wants out if Aaron Rodgers returns. That's sort of what we've been speculating over the last few weeks, and I would side with Wilson over Rodgers on any of this. The only caveat to that is that we don't have to trade Garrett Wilson. We can say, hey Garrett, you're under contract for the next 2 years plus franchise tags. You're going to be here. And if I'm Vrabel and he wants to keep Rodgers, if Vrabel comes in and he says, I want Rodgers for one more year, let's see what we can do. I want the 2026 draft class or something like that. Like whatever. I would, if I'm Vrabel, I come in and I say, Garrett, I was put in a position where I had to trade away my best wide receiver in Tennessee. It's not happening. You're not going anywhere. So we're going to work out a contract, or you're going to sit on your current contract, and we'll figure out a contract after the season when we get another quarterback in here, whatever. And then if Rodgers retires, you bring in Justin Fields, you try to make Garrett Wilson happy, whatever. I'm cool with not moving Garrett Wilson. I don't care if I'm offered 2 first-round picks. I don't want to trade Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett is worth enough to give him the big contract, keep him on this team. He's a positive influence moving forward. I don't think Rodgers is here long-term. Well, he's obviously not here long-term, but I don't want Rodgers to be... Garrett can't force his way out. It's not like he's in a contract year. That's more what I'm trying to say here. J-Boy says, as Jet fans, we must pack MetLife and sing to Rodgers and friends. Na, 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 na. Hey, 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 goodbye. That would be absolutely amazing, but I kind of hope the building is totally empty next week because Woody Johnson doesn't deserve any Jet fans' money right now. Doesn't deserve anyone's money. Screw that. But yeah, look, I think Lazard's gone, Rodgers gone, Devontae's gone. I don't know. I'd be pretty surprised if we brought back Rodgers at this point after everything that's kind of gone down the last week and a half to 2 weeks or so. I mean, you could even say the whole season. The season's just kind of been a shit show. The bubbling over of like Rodgers and Wilson. There was a report with from Ian Rappaport today. Obviously, if Rodgers comes back, Wilson's going to request a trade. This has been bubbling over since the training camp. I don't know if it's been so much since training camp. There was like some heated discussion in training camp, but I don't know if that's anything overly to read into. I think it happened more so once Davante got here, and he was clearly not being like the number one receiver. It was clearly like, let's force the ball to my buddy Davante the entire time. That's sort of what I envision. J-Mo says, does any of this even matter, honestly? No, probably not. We're going to suck forever. It's just what's written in the NFL script. We're going to be terrible. We're going to be the laughingstock. We're going to cut Aaron Rodgers. He's going to go on to San Francisco. He's going to win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan and that whole team over there, and they're going to wind up – he's going to retire with that ring, and he'll have a great season next year, and the Jets will sign Justin Fields. We'll fumble around. We'll be 7-10 or 8-9 or something like that. We'll be just out of striking distance from a quarterback. We won't be able to trade all our picks to go up and get a quarterback. Then we're gonna blow it all up. Like, I've seen this story before. I know how this plays out. Oh, I know how it plays out. I see you guys asking, are we going to do call-ins? Yes, we will do call-ins. I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit longer. Let's do call-ins let's call it 5:15. We'll do 15 more minutes of talking to the chat. We'll do some call-ins. I want to hear what you guys have to say about all that. I should probably open up the call-in window. Yeah, so I'll open it up in about 10 minutes time. We'll start talking through it all. Let's see. I don't think the Johnsons talk to him anymore. Shawnee Rock talking about Rodgers. I could see that. My sources in Detroit tell me Glenn really doesn't want the Jets job. It's Ed, if you do have any sources there, I don't think there's going to be many people that want the Jets job right now. I think Woody Johnson is seen as not the best owner to have over you, but there is a lot of talent here. So even if Aaron Glenn doesn't want the job, hopefully Vrabel does and wants to. I'd hand him the keys, do whatever you want. Mr. Roberts says, I think Johnson told him to tank the game. I mean, that'd be wonderful. I would be a little disappointed if Rodgers did do that. Jacob, if Rodgers retires, does the cap hit lower or go away? No, the same cap hit as if we release him versus if he retires is the same across the board. We've already paid out the money, so that money has to hit our cap, whether we take the entirety of the dead cap next year or designate him a post-June 1st cut or a post-June 1st retirement or something like that. Then it would get spread over 2 seasons if they wanted to do it that way. It depends how competitive they feel like they could be. I lean more towards like taking your medicine next year if Rodgers is not going to be here and just get all the dead cap out of the way now and hit a full clean reset in 2026. And then who knows? Maybe look, I think Fields would come in here relatively cheap. I think Fields, Travis, and Tyrod are all similar players in the sense of, mobile quarterbacks. You don't know what you're going to get out of Travis. You don't know what you're going to get out of Fields. I like the leadership of Fields a lot. When he played Clemson in that playoff game, I thought for sure the Jets were going to draft him at that point. He shows a lot of grit. I think that plays well in New York. And I'm also fine with just like running the ball down teams' throats. Like if Fields wants to run and Brees wants to run and Allen wants to run and we're not going to get a crazy ton of, air yards or whatever, like I can deal with that for a season. If we're going to wind up losing games, at least entertain me for the chunk of time. Jerome says Vrabel's price tag just went up $50 to $60 million. That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't count against salary cap. If Woody has to reach a little further into his pockets, good for him. Jeffrey, go to the Vikings like Favre. Will take Darnold back. I really would love Sam Darnold. I really would. I would love to have Sam. If you could have I'm not sure there's a team out there that's looking at how Rodgers handled his situation with the Jets and says, I really want to have Rodgers as a bridge quarterback. You might be able to do it in San Francisco for a year because I don't know if Purdy's necessarily the answer out there. And if it doesn't work, I guess there is a situation where maybe Shanahan's not there in 2 years' time. I don't know. I don't want to see it all go that way, though. Joe S., Giants and Raiders really screwed themselves. Yeah, the Tankathon rankings, for those of you just tuning in, Jets are currently sitting in the 6th spot. Let me just refresh, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Jets currently sitting in the 6th slot. The Giants fell from 1 to 3. Raiders fell from, I think it was 4 or 5 down to 8 currently. If the Browns do win, the Browns would still stay in front of Vegas. So the Browns would fall down to the 7th pick, while the Jets and Panthers would slide up a little bit. Jets and Panthers are so close in terms of the strength of schedule. Just .002 decides the 6th pick versus the 7th pick for these two teams. Do the Jets wind up picking ahead of the Panthers? That's really going to be a major, I mean, obviously, if both teams lose next week, that's going to be the major discussion. What teams have to win or lose to keep us in front of the Panthers? We might find out by the end of today, tomorrow, that the Jets or Panthers have moved further or closer. We may have the 7th pick by the time you watch this tomorrow, if you're watching this at that particular point in time. Lots of stuff to kind of consider for where we could ultimately end up. Boys and girls, I want to get to your phone calls in just 10 minutes time. So just hang in there if you want to call in. The call-in number will be rotating through the screen. Johnny Football says, Sanders looks terrible. I don't want Sanders. I'd rather wait for the 2026 class, and I'd rather have Fields, I think, rather than trading up a bunch of picks to go get Sanders. Not to mention, New England has the ultimate trade chip at the number 1 pick. I think more than likely the relationship between the Patriots and Giants, although maybe the loss of 2 Super Bowls to the Giants, maybe that plays any kind of factor in there. I guess if Belichick were there, I think him and the Giants have a little bit more respect. But I don't know how Mara and Kraft feel about one another. I would think they would be, a top trade target since they are within the top 3 as of recording this video. Hopefully Jets get Abdul Carter. He would be great with McDonald and JJ. I really like Abdul Carter. I think he's a stud. I would have no problem with the Jets taking him. No problem whatsoever. DeWedge says, Chaco, the Clown Clemens, was cool today. Yeah, he jumped on top of an entire pile and got an extra 15-yard penalty for us. I can't wait to cut his ass. Jets had 15 penalties, more than double that of the Bills, 113 yards. Insane. Jets are easily, I think right now, the most penalized team. And I know yardage-wise we definitely were. Horrible, horrible. Most penalized team in the NFL. I'll have to look up and see where it actually ranks out as far as number of penalties called on us, but this is just an embarrassment. This is a direct relation to the lack of coaching and the lack of, lack of effort maybe on the Jets players' parts. I feel like they've given it up. Terry says, Ryan, Rodgers looks lifeless, tired, and cooked. He needs to retire. That's where I hope this all ends up. I hope Rodgers gets his 500th touchdown next week. He hangs it up. And he just says, all right, you know what? I tried. I gave it a good, honest shot. If the Jets don't want me back, do I really want to move again? Do I really want to go to another team? Maybe I just call it quits at that point. I don't really want to see him go elsewhere. Oreo says, both top quarterbacks look like busts or backups at best. I don't want to go with either one of the quarterbacks at the top of this class. I think there's a lot of really good talent here, and I'd rather wait for next year. I leave myself open to interpretation on that, because if they want to make a move for a quarterback, I'm okay with it. I just don't particularly love this class. Adirondack Fly Guy says, trade Q for some picks. I don't want to trade Q. I really don't. Way too early to call player bust. I agree. Got to get that O-line much stronger. I think Olu coming back is really going to help. You're going to need a right tackle, whether that's Moses coming back for a year or, if Vrabel comes in, Jedrick Wills is my favorite to be the right tackle. He's on a voided contract this year. He's going to be a free agent. He played right tackle for 3 years at Alabama before switching to left tackle in the NFL, where he's been his entire career. I would take him and have a Moses versus Jedrick Wills competition for right tackle. Hopefully you can re-sign Morgan Moses before you have to go into the free agency period, and then you can say, hey, look, Jedrick Wills, you might be the future at right tackle here. That way you're not wasting a premium pick on a right tackle. And you have a decent backup, which can also play left tackle in the event Olu has some lingering issues from the Liz Frank injury, or whatever the foot injury was there for Olu. But the rest of the O-line I feel like is set. I'm good with that. I don't think we have to worry too much about the O-line. Ryan, we will be 3 or 4. I hope we wind up picking 3 or 4. If the Jets didn't win against the Jaguars, we'd be picking very, very high. Jets would be the number 2 pick if we didn't beat Jacksonville or the Titans. Either one of those teams would have bumped us up higher. E-Rock says he's talking. Oh, there's going back to that. I just ordered my Tyrod Taylor jersey. There you go for next year, right? Always happy. Oreo says, Ryan, O'Leary, Greenbean are going to hype up the draft, free agency in the offseason. Next year comes, you'll be hyping up the viewers to be let down by week 5. You're a part of the problem, Ryan. Still love you. Well, look, I do get myself hyped up. If my excitement hypes you up and it's misguided, I apologize. But I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So when I'm frustrated about this damn team, I'm going to let you know it. When I'm excited about where I think this team could be going, I'll let you know it. I do enjoy the draft. I like the draft process because it is all hope. It's all hope and what could be in the future. I have no idea what GM we're going to have, how they're going to ultimately be drafting players. Crazy. Jet Engine, clarifying his earlier super chat, says, bro, I was talking about when Corley dropped the screen entering the end zone. Had he held on, Adams' touchdown last week would have been 500. So Jet Engine's talking about how Corley dropped the touchdown pass, or not dropped the touchdown pass, dropped the ball at the end zone, which would have been, 400 whatever. And then last week, number 499 would have been 500, and we wouldn't have to deal with this 500 touchdown stuff. I agree, Jet Engine. I agree. Was confused initially at that, but it makes a lot of sense. And I don't know. Wally says, Ryan, have you seen Sauce told someone he wouldn't tell T. Higgins he wouldn't tell T. Higgins not to come to the Jets when he hits free agency? I did see that. I had a few people send it to me. I'll make a video about it and I'll post it tomorrow. But I'll be honest, I don't really care much about it. It's something to maybe be mindful of, but I don't know if that's more of like, oh, Sauce is saying, don't come to the Jets. We stink. I would never tell that, which is kind of where my mind goes to first. But the second side of me says, I don't want T. Higgins here. Like, I don't want the Jets going out and spending a ton of money on a wide receiver that I don't necessarily want, who gets hurt consistently. I'd rather that money go to Garrett Wilson. Like, so there's a lot of ways to read into this that may not necessarily be Sauce saying, I don't want good players to come here. But I understand that's where people's heads go, and it's entirely possible that's what he was talking about. He did put a lot of emphasis on the not going to recruit him here. Jingle Dubs, best case scenario is we get Darnold. I've been a Darnold truther since he was drafted by the Jets. Dude, me too. I really wanted Sam. I thought we had our franchise quarterback when we drafted Sam. I love me some Sam Darnold. If you can get Sam Darnold from the Vikings and Josh McCown as OC, I'd be tickled pink. I could live with that. I'd be happy. Then you don't have to worry about the quarterback. You got a win now team with the roster. I think everyone gets hyped up. I don't know. Jets been a laughingstock for a while. More than a while. Forever. Una too cold. I'm cool with Tyrod and literally anyone else coming in next year to compete to start. Rodgers needs to be gone. He's gone year after next, regardless. So let's start it early. Yeah, you take a little bit of the salary cap sting out of it too if you move on from him next year. Jason says it's all about coaching. Rodgers' numbers on the season are almost identical to Mahomes, but the records are reversed. I'm glad I did not watch today though. Yeah, I feel like a lot of our stuff was also garbage timey kind of touchdowns. And garbage time stat padding, if you will. I feel like a lot of the necessary plays, Rodgers did not look good, that Mahomes generally looks good on. It also probably helps that like the Chiefs always get the benefit of penalties, and the Jets are easily the most penalized team in the league this year. So I think a lot of this falls on coaching, first and foremost. Coach Harris clearly does not want Fields. Look, if we're going to punt on next season, yeah, I'd rather be entertained with Fields. I'm sorry. Anthony says, if Jets lost to Jacksonville, we'd be sitting at the number 2 pick overall. Same old Jets. Say we beat Miami next week, we drop down to the 9th pick. Yeah, I was expecting the Jets to beat the Jaguars, so I was not beat up about that. And I was also expecting the Jets to beat the Dolphins the final game of the season. So if we do, I'm not going to be super shocked. I do hope we lose because I want that higher draft pick. And I don't think any win in the final game of the season, in a season that's just fucking falling apart, is really going to matter at all. So hopefully we wind up losing there. What about Jordan Travis? Should he be ready for camp? Yeah, I would think so. I would bet he's probably ready now. He's just knocked out. Justin asking, what pick do we have now? Right now, we're sitting in the 6th pick, but strength of schedule is .002 between us and the Panthers, so we may, by the end of this weekend, be picking 7th. We'll have to see how the rest of this season goes. Sam getting paid. JJ McCarthy's going to be pissed. I want Fields. Sam's definitely going to get paid. I don't think we have the funds to necessarily make it work. I guess we get a little crafty with it. You can always make a contract work. But I think even if he gets paid, JJ may not play for 2 additional years, but then he would just be on year 4 and then his 5th year option. So I don't think signing Sam necessarily slams the door on JJ. It just delays his time from playing in the NFL. Donald says, I say hit, clean reset, clean house, get a new GM, head coach, offensive coach. Well, damn, everything good thing, because clearly we are a laughingstock in the NFL. Really, if it was me, I'll move on. Yeah, I like the move on aspect of it. 75% of you run it back with Rodgers. 75% saying no. 75% saying no. Meanwhile, Baltimore is the most penalized team, but still wins games. Crazy. Is Baltimore more penalized than us? That feels like that's not right. I'll have to look that up. That doesn't feel correct, but maybe it is. Their coaching is incredible. Crazy thing is I've seen Michael Clemens do the exact same thing before. He just got penalized this time. Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought it was really stupid because it wasn't necessary. But I was also a little surprised it was a penalty because I didn't think I had heard a whistle by the time he jumped. I don't really care. I'm not going to defend him at all. Terry says, I think we had 16 penalties for 120. If they did, the Google thing did not update. Let me just hit refresh. Maybe they adjusted it. Yeah, 16 for 120 is what Google says now. I guess they must have retroactively added a penalty in there. Makes sense. We stink. Oreo says, I'd wife you up for your loyalty. 14 years of abuse. Dude, this team sucks. This team, I'll be honest, I have been so unmotivated to make content during the back 2/3 of this season. Back 2/3. It's literally like a silly way to say that. But yeah, it's basically since I would say the end of October, I have been more focused on my family, more focused on my job, and just figuring all that stuff out, some other things, little projects that I'm working on. But yeah, I'm not going to let this team drag me down as far as my mood goes. But yeah, a lot of you guys. We got 374 people in here currently. We had over 440, I think, at one point in here. And you guys are equally as thirsty for a winning season as I am. I've been doing this now for 7 years and have not seen a winning season. So very, very disappointing here. Ryan Rivera, Ryan, you are great therapy for Jets fans. You are not part of the problem. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Ryan. It is greatly appreciated. It is therapeutic for me to come on here and talk to you guys. It's always fun trying to get an idea of what the fan base is feeling, and then it helps me digest some of this initial emotion that I'm feeling and go into extra videos and figure out what I want to do from a mock off season. I might wait till after next week's game to do my mock off seasons at this point. And I'll do one that's if we keep Rodgers, or if Rodgers, if we move on from Rodgers or retires or something like that. We'll do a little, plan A, plan B, and I'll drop them relatively close to one another. So that way we can get an idea of what we could potentially look like for next year. Very excited to talk about all that. All right. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to put the call-in number on the screen. So let me pin that comment in there. I see you guys calling in. Before I do that, let me just see. Before I do that, I do just want to head over to the sponsor of our channel, and that is Public Rec. Tired of squeezing into stiff dress pants at that holiday party this season? Unwrap the gift of comfort with Game Changer pants from Public Rec. The office pants that look like Monday but feel like Sunday. Imagine clocking in while feeling as cozy as if you were still in bed, sipping hot cocoa. With a soft hand feel and smooth drape, these pants are fan favorites for a reason. Whether you're closing deals in the boardroom, navigating holiday travel, or mingling at company parties, the Game Changers will keep you looking sharp and feeling great. Public Rec is the ultimate men's clothing brand for blending comfort and style seamlessly, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. Stay comfortable this holiday season without compromising style, because with Public Rec's Game Changer pants, you really can have it all. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order with promo code JETSTALK at publicrec.com. That's 20% off with code JetsTalk at publicrec.com. Guys, I cannot endorse these pants enough. I am a big believer in the four-way stretch, comfy lifestyle. I have enough stress in my life. This damn team gives me enough stress. I don't need to have to feel constrained. I can eat my sorrows away without being restricted. I get the nice stretchy waistline while looking professional. I really like it. If you want to help support the channel and support the sponsors of our channel, hopefully they come back and they say, oh, you know what? This Ryan guy, he's worth hanging on to and helps me do more of the videos that I love doing. So guys, head down into the description below. Click on the link down there. Public Rec, 20% off with promo code JetsTalk. All right, let me start opening up the phone lines. I've got Max, then Cameron, then Mike, and then I see Ronnie and Jacob in there. I'm going to leave you guys in the back room there for just a minute while I get situated here. Let's go over to Max. Max, how you feeling, brother?
Can you hear me now?
I got you loud and clear.
So this loss is very embarrassing in my opinion. And the reason why I think it's a very embarrassing loss, 40-0 in the fourth quarter, going to the fourth quarter, and then we score off garbage time. This game was not even close. And look, the Bills are a very good team. No one wants to face them in the playoffs, but this is embarrassing. You should at least make the game competitive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
like
you
this,
hope
like this is. It was so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed by this performance. I was actually watching Red Zone in the beginning of the fourth quarter because this was such a competitive game. A safety, because a backup offensive lineman, Max Mitchell, was a bad offensive lineman. Our offensive lineman got injured. Like, this is so embarrassing, and I'm worried about this team's future. I feel like Woody Johnson's going to hire an idiot of a head coach. He's probably going to get back Matt Eberflus, who is so bad at clock management, because I feel like Woody Johnson's going to hire some retread coach like Doug Peterson or Matt Eberflus that's going to mess it up. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but that's my fear of it. That because Brick Johnson is such a nepo baby. He had never had to work a day in his life, so I'm very worried about the team's future. Garrett Wilson might want out. Hopefully, still on the team, but I don't understand why a lot of Jets fans still want him back because
I can't hear you. Say that again.
42. Taylor kind of outplayed Aaron Rodgers in the last 2 series of the game. So here's my offseason thing. So in the offseason, I feel like the Jets should get some new coaching candidates. So Ben Johnson's number 1, good offensive mind. You know what I really like about Ben Johnson is he doesn't have a system. He fits for the player's strengths. So I was watching the Lions offense, and I've never seen the line. I'm like not really a Lions fan, but his offenses are so explosive. The amount of hook and ladder plays, it's just creative. My second head coaching candidate is Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is a very good culture guy. Because the amount of penalties he can cut the amount of penalties because the amount of penalties is just inexcusable. Today there was like 15 penalties in the game, and Jeff Goldberg right now is like one of the worst coaches I've seen on the Jets. He makes Robert Saleh look like Sean McVay. Like Jeff Goldberg's so bad. Hopefully Mike Vrabel can cut down the penalties. The last coaching candidate is Rex Ryan. Now, I know you disagree with me. Rex Ryan's the best coach I've seen the last 15 years as a Jets coach. He went to 2 AFC championship games. That's like the best. I understand the last like 5 or 6 Jets seasons. I wasn't even watching the Jets when Rex was coach, but he was like the most successful Jets coach we had in the last 15 years. So even though a lot of fans might disagree, I think Rex Ryan could be a good fit, even though he hasn't been in the NFL. His son is actually on the Lions. So as long as he gets a good offensive coordinator, I think Rex Ryan could be good as like a culture guy because right now our culture is bad. And then for the offseason, we have to sign Aaron Rodgers because, Aaron Rodgers has like, I don't know, $49 million in cap space. He could be a post-June 1st cut. And actually, Tony Romo was talking about this on the game that we have to sign on Rodgers because if we cut him, we kind of have like $49 million in dead cap space. So
we're going to have that dead cap space regardless because of the we've already paid out that money. So regardless of whether he's here or not, you have at least that much cap space going towards him. It's just a matter if you make him a June 1st cut or not, or a June 1st retirement. Even it splits it over 2 seasons. It kind of depends how you want to take your medicine. Max, thanks so much for playing. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, boys and girls, let's get into your calls. We got Cameron, then Mike, then Jacob. Let's go over to Cameron now. Cameron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good this week. I mean, I'm used to the same thing over and over, so it doesn't surprise me. And I actually came out of this game with some hope that Woody Johnson will see what the team really is. He's not going to have this, on high belief that, if we just make a slight change here, maybe a best friend GM and a guy that I know at head coach. Like, I'm hoping he goes like on the warpath and gets us people to run the team who really know what they're doing, who've shown in other places they know what they're doing. Like, I would take Dimitrov as the GM. He built a good team there in Atlanta. Yay, Ward is welcome after so many seasons, but that eventually happens. I think you pair him well with Vrabel. I know Vrabel can build it, and I wouldn't take quarterback this year. Defense in the first round, and then I try and build up the offensive line, or if one of the top 2 offensive linemen is there, take one of them, and just go like the Harbaugh approach: defense and running the ball. Get a young guy next year when the crop is better, and maybe then you have a team that can actually lift the kid up. Let's say if he's not, on the Allen level of the Mahomes, where they kind of carry the team some weekends while he learns the NFL. Let's build the roster first.
Now, do you think who do you want our quarterbacks to be next year? Like, if Rodgers isn't here, we're taking our medicine. It's Tyrod and Travis. Is there a third quarterback you'd like to see the Jets bring in, or you just want to run it with those two? I feel like Tyrod's going to get hurt at some point, so you can't just fully rely on the 2 QBs.
I think everybody's sweetheart choice is Sam Darnold. Let's just say we all have a soft
it would be great. If we get Sam, though.
I don't think it happens because the Vikings know what they have now.
Yeah.
But no, I would try and get another competent backup. Like you keep saying, Justin Fields. I would take Justin Fields. I would start Tyrod. I mean, that's where I would start it out. But to have Justin behind him, they're similar in playing style, similar in arm strength, similar in kind of how they run an offense, at least from what I've seen of Fields, either in Chicago or in Pittsburgh. That I think if you start with Tyrod and when he gets hurt, or if he gets hurt, Fields wouldn't be that much of a shock to the system. I worry that Travis, because he had that badly broken leg, he didn't get enough practice time, didn't get enough practice, and it might be like everything's moving too fast for him. So go with 2 guys who know what they're doing, and if Tyrod doesn't play well, switch to Fields. We've got to have someone keep the team running while everything around him kind of gets built up.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily start with Tyrod, but I think you have Tyrod, maybe as quarterback 1 with Fields, battling for quarterback 2. I think I'd have an open competition across the 3 of them, really. Whoever's the best quarterback ultimately ends up playing. And ideally, I'd want to see Fields versus Travis with Tyrod as the backup. If you had to, hopefully win a game or something like that. Or maybe we're just going belly up and we just want to like the highest draft pick possible next year. We're all on the same boat. Cameron?
I mean, if there's a really good quarterback, maybe number 1 pick, so it's shoot for. Who knows?
Fingers crossed, but we know how it ends. We win games at the end.
I know, Ryan. Have a good one.
Take it easy, brother. Good call. Good call. All right, we got Mike, then Jacob, then Carson. Let's go over to Mike.
I'm tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers, about the draft every fucking week. And sorry for cursing. Every flat nabbit week. Every time. Is he staying? Is he going? We don't know. What are we doing? I'm so tired of this conversation. So I want to change it up for you because I know we've been talking about the same thing over and over again. 5 Jets who can't come back next year under any circumstance. Xavier Gibson's number 5.
Okay.
You're done. Number 4, Alan Lazard. Everyone knows it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Gone. Number 3. This is the one that I think is going to bring up a little bit of a controversy. A little bit. CJ Mosley's gone. He's just too old. I know he's the leader. He's gone. And then I was going through number 2, Jeremy Rucker. You can't fucking block. You are the 2nd string tight end, and you can't block. I don't care that he wants to be here. I don't care he grew up a Jet fan. He can't play football. He can't. He has the last game. Breece Hall was going to be sprung for a massive run. All he has to do is hit the fucking linebacker. Hit him. He misses twice. This guy is terrible. I'm sorry, Jet fans. I know it was a feel-good story. It doesn't feel good anymore. He can't play. I'm sick of him. And Michael Clemens, get the fuck out of the stadium. Don't ever come back. I'm sick. I'm tired of, like, I don't, come out here to yell and everything, but just, like, I'm tired of talking about, let's bring back Sam Darnold. Like, no, he's not going to come here, guys. We ran him out the building. Why would he come back in? Like, please think about this from a player perspective and not your dream scenario when you're talking about bringing back players and stuff. And also, Rex Ryan started this. Let's cut the bullshit. The first 2 years of this playoff drought, he was the coach. So why are you saying, we had 2 great years? You had 2 shit ones after that. Oh, and by the way, what did he do in Buffalo? That Buffalo team was a wagon when he took it over after the Jets. If you don't believe me, go look up the roster, go look at the stats, and look at what he did to that team. That team was stacked and he ruined it. Don't tell me he can still coach. He can't. Please be – and also he was just as indisciplined as a coach as every other Jet coach who's been here with the penalties. So please stop with the Rex Ryan talk. You guys are living off of 2 fantastic years that were Mangini's roster. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do your research. Rex cannot coach this team. It has to be Vrabel. It has to be someone who knows what they're doing, and it's probably going to be fucking Doug Peterson because I hate my life. But I'm just like, I'm so sick and tired of this team because it's the same conversation every week, and it never – changes. And it's just like, Aaron Rodgers, bring him back, bring him not. And then he has one good week, so the fans say, yeah, we should run it back. He has one bad week. We go, yeah, kill him with a pitchfork. Like, it's so just let the GM and the coach decide what has to happen. I'm on team get the fuck rid of him because I can't stand the comments, the post game and everything. But I just need to rant because I'm sick and tired of the same conversation.
Mike, I appreciate your call and your frustration. You've been ejected from the call. Boys and girls, call-in number is pinned in the live chat if you'd like to call in and let your voice be heard. I want to hear from you. I've got Jacob, then Carson coming up. Let's head over to Jacob and see what he has to say. Jacob, how you doing, dude?
Wow, I don't think I'm going to be as animated as the last guy, but...
how you feeling on this team right now?
Well, they kind of sucked all the emotion out of me, really. Now I became a Jets fan I believe it was 2010 after they made the playoffs with Sanchez. Man, what a bad time to become a Jets fan because anything after that, horrible.
Absolutely terrible. Now, were you a fan as they made the playoffs or like the loss versus the Steelers? And that's where it started in the AFC Championship game.
I believe it was during the regular season though.
So. Okay. All right. Fair. Tough stretch.
Man, I don't even know. I've never, out of all these years of being a Jets fan, I don't think I've ever once turned off the game as miserable as they have been. But this game was the first time I think I've ever just like not watched the ending.
That was terrible. I very much halfway paid attention to it. I had my brother-in-law over. I had the kids playing. It's like, all right, it's there. I'm watching it. I really don't want to watch it, but I got to watch it. It's brutal. It's terrible. This team, like, I can't wait for the season to be over, and I hate having that feeling because I get so excited for the beginning part of the season every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's our Super Bowl, the draft, offseason.
Now, what do you want to see the Jets do next year for quarterback? Don't care?
I don't think I really care anymore, honestly.
That's fair.
Just do something.
Do you think Rodgers does come back?
I don't know. I for these last couple of games, I wanted him to come back, but I don't know anymore. Even if he is still like he's still like a halfway decent quarterback, the best quarterback we've seen in a long time for the Jets. I don't know if we even want him back under those circumstances. I think we just gotta tear it all down, restart again.
Now, what do you think happens to Garrett Wilson? You think we're able to retain him if Rodgers is gone, or do you think the new GM's coming in here and saying, "Ooh, I can get 2 first-round draft picks," or whatever they think they can get for him? How do you see that playing out?
If he wants out, I think he's out. I don't think there's anything the Jets can do to try to keep him if he wants out. I'd say make him one of the best or the highest paid receivers in the league. As unfortunate as that might be that we would have to do that, but I think that's might be what it takes to keep him.
I'd rather see us overpay players that have been good Jets or have been on our team as opposed to like the outside mercenary approach of a Trumaine Johnson. Or, I mean, even though we like C.J. Mosley in his time here, C.J. Mosley was a vast overpay for a player that was, not on this team to begin with. And we see it consistently year in and year out where we don't take care of our own. I hope we do. I want to see Garrett here long term. Jacob, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, boys and girls, call-in numbers pinned to the live chat. Feel free to give us a ring in. I've got Carson coming up. Let's talk to Carson. Carson, how you doing, dude?
What's going on? What's going on, Ryan?
I'm feeling pretty, okay. What are your thoughts on this damn team?
Yeah, I don't know why my camera's not working. I would turn on. It's just not. I don't know why it's not flipping, but
that's all right.
Listen. You've been asking a couple. That guy is, I believe, 2 callers ago. The animation, I fucking love it because I've been saying this for years now, man. I'm so tired of the fucking shit. I'm sorry for cursing, but listen. We've had discussions about what I would like to happen. I think if we're being logical, really the best quarterback choice going into next year, is there a better option than Aaron Rodgers? You kind of have to find that bar. Is there something out there? I'm all for it, but is there something out there that is better than Aaron Rodgers? That's just how you have to go about it. Now,
what if the better is like? Do you think the locker room aspect has anything to do with it? Like, if this team is kind of over Aaron Rodgers, but he is the best statistical quarterback that we could bring in. Like, realistically, we're probably not going to have a better quarterback next year if Rodgers is not our quarterback.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Does that play into your hand at all? Like, do you think the locker room side of things?
For me, I really don't think, looking back at this season, I think coaching played a large role into, where the demise of this season. I don't think, Saleh was the right particular choice heading into this season. I made it known to you that I didn't think Saleh was the right guy.
It was tough. If we had seen if this season had been what like we saw last year, I think Saleh would have been out, and we would have probably had Vrabel this year as opposed to maybe next year.
Yeah, and then two things moving forward. First off, the season's not over yet, so we have to see where we finish, in the draft order wise. But if we could somehow get 3 of the teams below us, whether it be the Giants, Titans, Patriots, or whatever the case may be, they win an extra game and we propel up to maybe 4 or 3, we could be talking Cam Ward. Now that's a story for another day. But Cam Ward is legit. He's better than Shedeur by a mile. It's not close. You got to watch some Cam Ward film.
I do. We were talking behind the scenes, talking a little Cam Ward and his performances, and I really need to sit down and watch. I need to watch all of them. Once we get into the offseason, we'll know where we're picking and everything.
I want to say one thing, and you know what? You may forget this, but years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago now, has Saleh been head coach? 4 or 5, whatever it was.
4. Yeah, 4 years ago was when we hired him.
I remember
he got fired 3.5 years in.
Right. Okay. So call it 4. Right. So 4 years ago, you made a video talking about head coaching. After Gase, you were talking about certain guys that you wanted to see come in. Right. Dable. Right.
Yep.
Me and you were very, very, very pro Joe Brady. I remember it was me and you in a war. We were fighting for it. It was not.
I didn't necessarily want him as head coach at that time, though. I wanted him more as OC at that time. I liked Joe Brady.
He was interviewing for HC. He was interviewing for head coach. But I remember looking back at it now. Was Saleh the right choice over Joe Brady? I mean, looking back at it now,
it's hard to argue against it because of the results we got from Saleh. We don't know what Brady would have been as a head coach, I guess. But yeah, it's frustrating.
I think he's going to get looks this year. I think Brady gets looks this year.
I agree. I think he definitely does. Carson, thank you so much for the call.
Have a good one, Ryan.
You've been ejected from the cockpit. Get out of here. All right, I got Indy Jets, Barber Mike, and Ryan King coming up here in just a minute. I do want to pull up a sponsor of the channel, and that is Odds Jam. Odds Jam. Look at these results. People are making free money betting on sports, making thousands every month. The secret, they're using OddsJam. OddsJam isn't just another betting app. It's turning the entire system in your favor. Here's how. OddsJam uses a strategy called arbitrage. Finding odds differences across multiple sports books. You bet both sides no matter the outcome, you will profit. Here's an example. You put $500 on Boise State to win on FanDuel and $335 on their opponent, San Francisco, on DraftKings. You're guaranteed to make $50 win or lose. It's that simple. With the OddsJam mobile app, you'll get real-time alerts on these opportunities every day. People are making thousands monthly, and to get you started, use code JETSTALK for 35% off and a 7-day free trial. I guarantee you'll profit during the trial, and if you don't, cancel with one click, no questions asked. Don't leave money on the table. Go to oddsjam.com, use code JETSTALK, and start making money the smart way. Boys and girls, want to get to your calls right now. Let's head over to Indy Jets. Let's see what Indy Jets has to say. Brother, how you feeling?
Ryan, how are you, man? How excited are we for another Jets loss?
I mean, at this point, I'm hoping for the draft picks, right? Like, I'm happy to see the Giants win. I'm happy to see the Raiders win. I'm happy to see the Jaguars win.
Yeah, now I clicked no. I don't want Rodgers back, and it has nothing to do with his talent ability. His leadership has dwindled down to nothing. He is not the same leader on the New York Jets that he was in Green Bay.
I agree.
I mean, if you look at his body language and how he reacts to a bad play, or how, whether it's his fault or anybody's fault, he reminds me of, I mean, yes, he's a California boy, but he kind of reminds me of that California surfer who just smoked too much weed. And he just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of give a shit, and he holds nobody accountable, including himself. If he makes that bad throw to Rucker, he almost looked at Rucker like it was his fault.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about the one to Yeboah where he threw it at his feet, right?
I'm sorry. You're right. Not Rucker. It was Yeboah. That's who I was thinking of, Yeboah. And he looked at Yeboah like it was almost his fault. And I don't remember which play it was, but Josh Allen had made a bad throw to somebody. And I'm not a big Josh Allen fan, but he looked right at that receiver within 2 seconds and said, "No, my fault, not yours." And he made that way. And that's what a leader does. And I don't think that Rodgers, he just doesn't have that anymore. It's almost like he's just, I hate to say it, but is he just there for them? He took a pay cut, but he's just there for the money. And he just doesn't seem like he has a care.
It feels like he's there for if there's, there's no such thing as bad press. Any press is good press. And that feels like Rodgers is just here to build up his, I don't know, you're not really building up your stature anymore. Cause for as shitty as we are, you're just hurting your legacy at this particular point in time. I don't know. It's super goofy.
And so I'm all for just getting him, getting him out of a green jersey. I really don't, I'm done with him. I really don't care if he's probably statistically the best quarterback. I think he brings other people down, or at least not bring them up. Real quick, you've got Vrabel as number 1 and Flores 2.
Yep.
My pick is the other way around.
Okay.
Only because Flores went and spent a year under Tomlin. If you're going to spend any time with a coach to learn anything, Mike Tomlin is probably one you want to do it with. And then look how he's succeeding, and look what he's doing in Minnesota. So I think that, 2 years out of being a head coach, spending some time with some good quality coaches around him, maybe he's learned a little bit.
I would be happy with either one of those guys. Those are my top 2 by a pretty substantial margin. I guess you could throw Pete Carroll in there too, to some degree, maybe below those 2 as a former head coach that you might want back. But I completely agree. I think some time to reflect on your coaching ability, learning under Tomlin, learning under, the Minnesota staff. I think it would be cool to see maybe McCown come in as OC if Flores winds up, coming over from Minnesota. I'd be interested. Vrabel's still my top choice.
Surrounding yourself with some successful people. I'm not. He said everybody says he failed with Tua. Well, you know what? I'm not a big fan of Tua, and the Dolphins haven't done anything either. So You know, did he really fail there?
I agree. He wanted Herbert at the time, and I think that would have been the right call. Indy Jets, thank you so much for your call. You've been
appreciate it.
Ejected from the cockpit. Good call. Good thoughts from Indy Jets. All right, we got Barber Mike and then Ryan King coming up. Barber Mike, how you doing, dude?
I wish we won, but it's fine.
Oh, dude. What do you want for next year?
I would like to build the team going forward. Let's just pick the best player in the draft, because if we look at, missing out on Penny O'Sule or, just taking some quarterback, it just doesn't go anywhere.
Now, do you think that Rodgers is back next year? Is there a quarterback you'd like to see under center for the Jets next season, whether it be a free agent, a trade, or something along those lines?
So I have Rodgers at $10 or $12 million man. He could take Taylor's job, give him a bridge quarterback. Let's just take the best player. We'll take our Florida quarterback, and hopefully he's ready to go next year.
Interesting. Now, do you have any hope for Tyrod Taylor, or you think it's just he was drafted late, the injury, not really an NFL quarterback? You just want to go with the top player available, whether it's the Florida quarterback or any other position, I'm guessing?
Let's go new. I mean, Taylor's been in the league for a long time. He's been nothing but a glass jaw. He just gets hurt.
Sorry. Jordan Travis. I didn't mean to say Taylor. Jordan Travis.
I know what you mean.
Okay. What do you think about Jordan Travis? Drafted him last year. Florida State's been hot trash since he's left. Any chance he could potentially be the guy?
Yeah, I would pick him, and let's pick a late 4th or 5th round quarterback, and let's just see how it goes.
Now, as far as anyone else on this team, is there something you want to see happen? Is there a head coach you want to see brought in? Like, how do we right the ship from where we currently are?
Vrabel is probably the best option, but I mean, he didn't really strike me as a guy in Tennessee that's really going to bring you to a Super Bowl. I would just go a young quarterback.
Just a young quarterback and a young, do you want a young offensive mind for a head coach? Like, who do we want? I want to know. Who do you want as a head coach?
Well, who else? They figure it out by just taking a gamble. Let's just take. The Bills wanted to take Sam Darnold that year and give 3 first-round draft picks to the Giants. The Giants declined, and we took Sam Darnold, and they took Josh. Let's just take a chance. Let's stop trying to be fancy.
I'm confused. You want to take the quarterback? Do you want to take best player available? Mike, you're confusing me. You're all over the map. I'm lost.
You're going to start Jordan next year. You're going to draft the 4th or 5th round quarterback, and you're just going to take the best player in the draft.
I would say give me the best player in the draft. Let me have Jordan Travis, Tyrod Taylor, and Justin Fields duke it out. And, let's see. Head coach, I still want Vrabel. I'd be fine with Flores if that's the case too. Either one of those guys would make me happy. I just want to be proud of our Jets. I feel like week in and week out, I'm sitting here bitching about the Jets. I just want to be proud. Even if we're not a good team, at least I want to be proud of our team. Like, we could see the growth. Like, Rodgers and this coaching staff and everyone just makes me hate watching the Jets right now. And it's super friggin' frustrating. Barber Mike.
I think the general managers are more important.
I think head coach is more important, but that's all right. Apples or tomatoes, same thing. Barber Mike, thank you so much for the call. Boom! You bit. Ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to Ryan King, and then we got Yeti coming up after that. Ryan King, how you doing, dude?
Good. How you doing?
Long time no talk. How you feeling about Aaron Rodgers? Who you want for head coach? How you feeling about this team in general?
I'm mixed on Aaron Rodgers right now. My question to you is, what do you think about Jameis Winston as our quarterback?
I don't mind it. I think that's a fun way to go because you'll get a lot of touchdowns. You'll get a lot of interceptions. It's kind of like a powder keg. Part of me wants to go with a Justin Fields, even though the passing game won't be there under Fields. I feel like the chemistry and the leadership of a Fields is more conducive than some other options. Winston has, seemingly has turned it around from a leadership standpoint since his time, I think, in Tampa Bay. I wouldn't hate it, especially since Vrabel's there in Cleveland right now. I really want to get Jedrick Wills, the left tackle from the Browns, over here to be either our right tackle or, insurance for Olu at left tackle. So if they pull any other Browns players, Winston, I'm okay with. I wouldn't mind it. I think it's fun.
Okay. Do you think that Brent Boyer survives this new regime?
I mean, It'd be kind of cool. I like Boyer. I don't think he's necessarily done anything bad. I think the kickers have been bad, but I don't know how much of that is really, fully on him. Kick returner wise, I don't understand why he's playing Gibson instead of Corley. Like, if it were me, I would be yanking Gibson out of this game and allowing Corley to play. So that would be my biggest gripe with Boyer right now.
Well, not only that, but also, I mean, we kept Gibson over Covington. I mean,
yes,
that drives me nuts. But also, what do you think about Sauce Gardner's comment on Instagram? Did you see that?
I did see that. It was I will not be asking T. Higgins to come to the Jets or something along those lines. And I see it two ways. I 100% see, and my knee-jerk reaction immediately was, this is bad. Sauce is not going to recruit players to the Jets. That might be entirely what he was saying. It might also be, I don't want to pay T. Higgins to come to the Jets because, one, I want Garrett Wilson to get paid on the Jets, and two, I don't think T. Higgins is that great of a player right now to justify the amount of money you're going to have to sign him to come here, because I think he's just injured all the time. So I actually agree with Sauce, and I would not want him coming to the Jets. I just think Sauce saying it that way implies that he's not trying to recruit people to the Jets because of the underlying issues that are coming out of our team, whether it be the GM, the head coach, the quarterback, the owner, whatever it is. How do you feel about it? You took it as that, like, a super negative?
I did. I kind of took it as he's just not going to recruit anybody. He's not going to tell anybody to come to the Jets. It's going to be one of those things that, it's just it's almost like a mini version of the Jamal Adams situation. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I know Jamal Adams was making a big stink and he was a crybaby and all this other stuff and trying to recruit himself to other teams and saying, "Hey, come get me." But that's kind of the roadmap of what I took it as. That's just how I feel. But I just think that next year we need to get one of the best wide receivers possible. I think we need to eat Aaron Rodgers' salary cap. I mean, as much as I kind of hate to say this, let Rodgers go. Let everyone possible that we can let go. Whatever regime comes in here needs to let Woody. Needs to let Woody know, hey, we're gonna tank this year. We're gonna go ahead and try to fix the salary cap and reset everything. We're going to try to develop these players that we have in-house that are going to be the second string and third string and so on and so forth. Because, look, when was the last time that we took an offensive tackle or an offensive lineman in the third, fourth, fifth round that has actually developed into being a starter? It hasn't happened. So go into next year, hey, we're going to fix the salary cap. We're going to take the dead money, all the dead money possible. We're going to develop these players, and we're probably going to suck next year, but we're going to make a good run for 2026. And the draft class, from my understanding, in 2026 is a lot better than 2025.
I agree. And you build this team up, you clear all the salary cap space, and if you want to make a big-time move like the 49ers did to go get Trey Lance, only hopefully it works out a little bit better, I'm cool with throwing draft picks to go up and get our guy, just like the Chiefs did with Mahomes, just like the Texans did with Watson before it, all kind of blew up. Like, that's the route I would like to go as well. Ryan,
well, not only that, but also, I apologize before you boot me.
It's okay.
Not only that, but I would also be willing to sell off this year's draft class picks, any of them, and trade back to retain more draft capital for next year.
I completely agree with you, Ryan. You've been ejected from the cockpit. I don't know where my chicken went. My chicken didn't fly across the screen. What did I do? Why is my chicken not there? I don't know. Let's go over to Yeti. See what Yeti has to say. Yeti! How you doing, dude?
I guess I'm doing as good as I can be. I don't know. I think this is live when I'm watching. Yeah, Huntley just scored a touchdown, ran one in from like 8 yards out. They're up 13-3 now.
Which game are you watching?
Miami, Cleveland.
Oh, cool. I'm not watching that game yet. I need to be watching it. After the stream, I'm going to go throw that on, and hopefully they win.
Yeah, man. I can't believe Miami's in the hunt. After the season, after all the crap that went down with Hill and losing Tua, and then he comes back, and then all of a sudden they're relevant again. And man, I don't know.
What
Good
do you want to see
TV.
happen with our Jets? That I don't care about Miami. I screw them.
Yeah. Sorry, that just happened right before you brought me on. I was just like, what?
I saw the hands go up, and I was like, oh God, what happened?
Yeah. I think I'm ready to see Rodgers go. I really wanted to like him, but so many sideline glares and too many evil stares and laser eyes just pointing at everybody. I'm kind of sick of it. He's too old to be doing that crap. I don't know. He's acting like a little kid out there. He's just acting kind of like he's untouchable. Like nothing's ever my fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And I don't want my team to be a part of that circus. So that's what we kind of are. And I don't want to be that. So yeah, I guess I'm ready to go. But at the same time, the devil's advocate is, what's the best option? Well, who else are you going to get? And so is next year just another throwaway season? I don't want it to be. I'd like to at least hit the playoffs. I'd like to at least get 10 wins. So, I mean, I'm not going to jump on a Tyrod bandwagon, but the kid can still play. I don't know. He's 5 years younger than Aaron, and the kid can still play a little bit. He can run around. I call him a kid, but he's, 36?
Yeah, he's old in terms of football players. But I feel what you're saying. I feel the same way. I don't really want Rodgers back. I think the sideline glares and the always blaming everyone else, his shit doesn't stink. That's the vibe I get from him.
Right.
And I would rather roll with a lesser quarterback that helps build up the chemistry on this team or the morale of this team or gives this team hope or players want to fight for this guy. And to me, that player is Justin Fields. I feel like if you bring in Vrabel, who's an Ohio State guy, there is a chance that he might be like, hey, Garrett, you're an Ohio State guy. We're keeping you. We're going to go get the quarterback from Ohio State. Justin Fields come in here, and you guys play together in college. We're going to get some morale going. Let's hopefully turn around. And look, if it doesn't work out, we're going to get a new quarterback in here, and we'll figure it out after that. That's sort of the way I envision it. Maybe hopefully going. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It is
Any
tough.
last words?
Hey, yeah, real quick. We did get a victory today. I don't know if you watched it, but match game this morning. Yeti got a W.
Who got a W?
I was on match game. Yeah, I was a contestant on match game.
Oh, hell yeah. There you go. I like it.
I beat Connor.
I was not watching. That's great, though. Good. I'm glad you got a W, Yeti. Brother.
Yeah. I'll be on next week, so maybe you can be on the panel, or maybe I'll see you there.
Ooh, maybe, dude. Yeti, I appreciate your call. I appreciate your time. Hang in there, buddy. We got the whole off season. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, greatly appreciate you. Michael Gonzalez, see you in here. Where's my comments? There it is. Bam! Ryan. Next year marks 50 years as a fan of the Jets. Oh, the pain. Michael, I apologize for the pain you've had to go through because that means you were a Jet fan just before. I'm not even saying this right. You've been a Jet fan since after the Jets won the Super Bowl. So you haven't even seen anything. You got a long history of pain, my friend. I commend you for sticking with this team this long. I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, man, I hope this team fucking moves to London. Just get me off this train. It sucks. Woody's never going to sell. Bezos, come in here, please. Drop like $50 billion. Just say, hey, Woody, just go right off into the sunset. We're going to throw brick under the stadium that I'm going to build. It's going to be an epic stadium. And, I don't know. It sucks, right? Like, this whole fan base, we deserve so much more. The fan base is so much more devoted to this team than like we get back in reciprocation here. So I appreciate your loyalty to this team, and they haven't deserved it. Got one more phone call coming in here. See what we got. Complete Lawn Care coming in. Complete Lawn Care, how you doing, dude?
How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there. This team sucks. What do you want to see next year? What do you want to do with Rodgers?
Listen, so I was never a big Rodgers guy from the beginning, I always thought Derek Carr was the better pick, long term. Everyone thought I was crazy, but yeah, how is this we're looking at a full rebuild again next year? What do you think?
Dude, it just feels like we're in a constant rebuild every single. It's like 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. We're just trying to figure it out. I don't even want to do the quarterback thing next year. I'd much rather run it back with, not run it back, but like Tyrod, Travis, get me Justin Fields, and then let's take our quarterback in 2026. Build up the team as much as you can for the guys that could be here next year, that might be a solution for next year, and then hit a higher quarterback class. And then bring in a veteran quarterback. Don't let the rookie quarterback start right away in 2026, but just take your medicine with the dead cap with Rodgers. That's sort of where I fall now.
Problem is this team, this building is just a cesspool of losing, and every time a new guy comes in, we're gonna switch the culture. And I mean, we wind up in the same position every 3-4 years. It's crazy.
It's constant bullshit.
But I just wanted to say, Ben, love the show. Been following you for a while now, man. Appreciate all these dark times. I thought we'd be like an 8-win team, to be honest, this year, maybe 9. And then I thought next year, if we got, after the Achilles was, you know what I mean? I thought that would be that's just never gonna happen. But yeah, man.
Who do you want to see as coach?
What's that?
Who do you want to see as coach?
Flores. I think Flores would come in here with an iron fist, maybe. But the thing is what do? All the talent we have, I think we got to we're going to need some draft capital for this new coach, this new GM. I mean, these were the guys that were supposed to win, and here we are.
I think we're going to wind up stocking. One of our previous callers, I think it might have been Ryan King, saying I'd take draft capital from this year and try to get it into 2026. And I think that's the right move. If we wind up picking in that like 7 to 10 range and we can slide back a few picks, get some extra capital for 2026, I'm good with that. Going best player available this year. I'm kind of hoping we sneak ourselves into the top 5 and we can get one of these like blue chip players. Then I'm fine holding on to that.
What do we?
I agree.
Losing on the guy we got rid of for Huff, right? We got to give up a draft pick for him. I mean, we're losing some draft picks, right? Some third rounders,
So we lose a draft pick for Reddick. Realistically, he's not going to get signed to a big contract that would net us a good compensation pick back anyway. So like we gave up that pick in 2 years from now. That's a 2027 draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, 25, 20. Oh no, it might be a 2026 third. I think that's what it was. I think it was 2 years from now. I think that's right. So that sucks. That's really frustrating to have happen because that pick could be used to try and move up higher into a draft, and us not having it now.
So those are the picks that you have to hit on, though. I feel like, Douglas misses on the left tackle. He misses on the quarterback. I mean, that sets you back. That's why we're at where we're at right now,
Oh, for sure. You keep Sam Darnold, you take a trade down, or you take Penei Sewell, or you take Jamar Chase or anything like that. Like, this team looks drastically different than what it was. Or even if you take, instead of Becton, I was pounding the table for CeeDee Lamb that year. I was like, I want CeeDee Lamb. Like, I know we need a left tackle, but man, CeeDee Lamb's the guy I want.
That would have been paired him up, huh?
It would be CeeDee Lamb and Sam, and then you wind up drafting Penei Sewell like the next year. It's like, it would have been crazy. Would have been absolutely wild. Or I guess not the next year. It would have been whatever year we took Zach.
Yeah, quick thing is what I'm trying to say is we never get the 3rd, 4th round guy that winds up being, a foundational type piece because you look at the Cowboys first round offensive line, sooner or later you got to pay all these guys, right? We're going to lose. Garrett wants out. I can see on their faces. I was at the Colts game, very close to them, and I could just see on these guys' faces they're done with the Rodgers experiment.
Yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting is like, okay, we're done. And then I get to this whole point of like, okay, is Rodgers just going to retire? Are we going to have to cut him and see this whole like Brett Favre 2.0 situation where he goes, has success elsewhere? I'm over it. I'm over the Rodgers thing. It sucks because I very much want him.
Even if he does well somewhere else, I'm good. I mean, unfortunately, it's a start over again in my book. Get someone like Flores that, doesn't Vrabel, I guess, would be great too. Anybody. I'm just over it. Looking at what Ulbricht's face, all these guys. He's gonna take a hard look into it. I'm just over it.
He feels spent. He doesn't like. He's just like, guys, like seriously, stop asking me questions. Just get me out of this presser. I'm just gonna say I'm here because I'm required to be here. That's really all it feels like at this point.
Yeah, I was at that game. It was depressing watching because the game was, as soon as the game was over, I mean, all the Jets players just won. They just lost at the end of the game, and they're bouncing around, going to see their buddies on the other side of the team. And I was just like, there was no disappointment whatsoever. They checked out long ago, I believe, man.
I completely agree. Brother,
thank you.
Thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, been a lot of fun hanging out with you. I wish we could have a little bit more fun with this damn team. It's super frustrating. I'll be on tomorrow. We'll do a little 2-hour stream. Get some more of your phone calls, get some thoughts, a night to sleep on everything. Maybe I'll give you some of my initial thoughts on a Jets mock offseason via the stream as opposed to putting out a video. We'll see where we kind of go from there. Before we do, I just want to thank the sponsor of our channel, BetUS. Thank you so much. Get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. How many games do you think the Jets win? We got 1 game left. And if it's anything, I get the feeling we're going to win the final week of the season. We're going to wind up picking pick 8, 9, or 10, miss out on all the blue chippers, not going to be able to trade down, have to go best player available. We're all going to be frustrated. We're going to hate our lives. But hopefully we lose and hopefully get a little bit of help from the teams in front of us, and we hit the reset button and we attract a head coach, and everything winds up being fine. Maybe that's where things start to shake out. Boys and girls, I really appreciate you and all the time you've put into this stream. Hit that like button on the way out if you enjoy hanging out in the chat. And if you want to vote, too late. 813 votes. 76% of you said, no, I do not want to run it back with Rodgers. And I agree with the 76%. That is where I, too, am feeling. Boys and girls, I will talk to you tomorrow. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.